Hello and welcome to the Streamline Shine podcast. My name is Steph Bolton and I'm 1/3 of Bolton Virtual Solutions, a team made up of me, Mum, and my two daughters, Sam and Amy. Our family virtual assistant agency's absolute passion is helping time-poor female entrepreneurs with those ridiculously long to-do lists, because we all know how they get longer instead of shorter, so that they're able to focus on doing what they love. You're going to want to stick around if you find yourself constantly just doing this thing quickly instead of spending time with your family, or if you look at your list of tasks and feel like crying, or even if you're just simply wondering how to manage your time better and delegate to your team. We're going to be covering topics from social media to marketing, systems and processes to outsourcing, and so much more, so that you can see what's possible for you and your business. So let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Streamline and Shine podcast. And today I'm joined by the amazing Helen Thacker, who is a money messaging coach. Is that correct?
Yes, I help people make money from the messaging. So yeah, that's a good description.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so Helen is here with us today to answer my questions about her journey as an entrepreneur and how she's made things happen so that she's able to work smarter and not harder. So welcome, Helen.
Thank you, Steph. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
We're excited to have you. So we're going to come to your backstory shortly, Helen, but please can you tell us about your business as it is now?
Yes, so I'm a business and messaging mentor, and my zone of genius is making messaging so simple that people actually implement it. Because you know how a lot of people learn messaging and you can come away feeling very confused. And I'm very strategic, a bit like you, Steph, very step by step, breaking things down and really helping you create messaging that gets you seen, paid, and recognized for your unique brilliance. And that's my passion. And I'm really this is the thing that really drives me, is helping women particularly who are sitting there feeling invisible right now. And I take them to becoming unmissable and unforgettable through really simple, high converting messaging that I teach.
I love that. What a passion to have as well, can I say? That you must go to your desk every day and just think, oh, I get to do it all over again.
I was talking about this in my group today, and I've got a group program, and I was saying to one of the ladies how it sounds so cliche, but the ripple effect of the reach that my clients then get. Like, I've got a client particularly who she helps women with chronic illnesses and managing their symptoms. And she sold out her high ticket program within literally one post. I'm not kidding. And she messaged me and she said, I've got 6 people into my program. I said, and you've got 6 more women who are now getting medical support and managing their systems because I helped you get. And I was just like, this blows my mind every time.
That's amazing. Well done to your client.
Yeah, I know. And I love the idea of the reach that my clients get to people I will never even know about.
Yeah.
Help them. And yeah, it's amazing. But it's about getting you seen, because I'm so passionate about women are sitting there with such unique talent and such ambition. And yeah, they don't, they're feeling like, how am I going to get out there? And they're frustrated, they're doing all the things. Yeah, and I help you get seen and paid and recognized for who you are. And I tend to, my clients are very ambitious, they're very driven, they're not here to build average businesses. We're here to make impact, and I love it.
No, there's no averageness around here. We've got no room for
I know, Steph.
Definitely not. Okay, so when did you start your own business, and did you start off doing something different altogether, or have you kind of sidestepped? Or
so I first went into entrepreneurship, as it were. I started my own business when I was 26, so 22 years ago, and I had a corporate job. I was actually an accountant for PricewaterhouseCoopers and moved sideways into financial recruitment after I qualified. And I was terrible. I was an absolutely terrible accountant. I mean, really bad. They let me in. And so I knew for literally day one, I was like, I'm going to get out. I knew my route was recruitment because I'm really people-based. It goes back to what I do best now. And it's so funny how you kind of keep those innate skills, and it's matching people to a job in the same way that I help my clients to match their offers to their clients. You know, it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's all positioning. It's all selling and positioning what you have. And so I was in recruitment, and I was there working for a really good company for 18 months. And I realized that actually I was giving away a big commission to my boss. And I thought, I can just do this myself. And so within a week of me making the decision, I was like, no, I quit. I'm going to set up on my own. And I did. I shut my laptop down. I went off on my own, and I built my own business from scratch with some of the relationships and connections that I'd started to create. I created a six-figure business. This is my very first sort of foray into being a CEO. You know, it was very much back in the day then. So it was 2004 when you had, you know, websites cost $5,000 to make. You know, you had to have a list. You know, there was no social media. And so it was literally from scratch at home with my computer and, you know, a mobile phone, which was probably the size of a brick, you know.
Yes.
And off we went. I'm aging myself so much. But that was such a great cut in my teeth. And, you know, age 26, so green to it. I felt very brave at the time. My friends were like, I never thought you would do that. You know, of anyone, I didn't think you'd be the one that quits and starts your own business. But I just thrived. I loved it. I loved the independence of it. And then I had a bit of a break. I have two gorgeous boys who are 17 and 15 now. And I took some time off, about 6 years off, to do the mum thing until they went to school. And then I was like, I'm so bored. I mean, I love them to bits, obviously, but I'm not someone who's ever going to sit still or do nothing.
No.
I have to be busy, and I have to be useful and have a purpose. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do? And so just as they were going back, they were both in school, I had a school mum friend who had a cafe. She knew I loved baking, and she said, oh, can you make some cakes, you know, for the cafe? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, absolutely. I'd love to, as like that typical turn a hobby into a business. Very quickly, I turned that into a wedding cake design business. I realized that very smartly that the profit was in wedding cakes, not just making a few Victoria sponges. And I invested in some like learning about wedding cakes and how to make them. I invested in improving my skill. I had a great business, a really successful business, and I did that for 7 years, but it took me away from my family. Anyone that works in the hospitality, particularly wedding industry, you're just never there at weekends. You know, Friday nights, every Friday night was finishing off the wedding cake for delivery the next day, or at wedding fair. It was crazy. And I was like, two tiny boys, you know, I was like, this is no good. So that led me to actually going into network marketing. And we met again through another friend who was a sports mum, fellow sports mum. My boys played baseball, which is really random in the UK.
It is,
baseball mum. And she was in this company. I'd never heard of network marketing before. But the idea of actually like having that passive income, and I could get rid of all the cakes, great. And so I thought, I'll do this on top of the cakes. I will start, you know, have this second stream of income. And very quickly, I really excelled in that. And within 6 months, I'd more than replaced my income that I was making from my wedding cake business. And I was like, and I flew up the ranks in the company. And I was, you know, again, it's very sales based. It was my natural gift of like selling ice to Eskimos, as it were. And yeah, I really excelled in network marketing, ditched the cakes, and I went all in on that for 5 years full time. And during that time, I grew a big global company, and I was being asked, and this is the time when social media was kind of really coming to the fore. COVID hit a year after I started in network marketing, and so we used to do things in person, and then all of a sudden everything had to go online. So this is back in the year 2000. And I had always loved being quite creative, obviously with the wedding cakes and knowing how to sell, and with language. I've always loved language. I loved creating content on social media, and I was using this as a big way to grow my business and grow my team. And I was being asked by the network marketing company to train teams all over the world on social media. Can you come and just speak to our team? And I was like, great. And so this is what I became known for. And again, my business sense went, hang on a second, a bit like when I was in recruitment, I'm not going to do this for somebody else. Why don't I just do this for myself 100%? And so this is where I stepped out of network marketing, went all in on coaching. And I haven't looked back. So this was the end of 2022, so 2 years ago. And I went into coaching for network marketers, and that's really where I started, helping them to build personal brands that stood out from everyone else doing the same thing. And yeah, that's what I did. I was, let's build a very powerful standout personal brand using your social media. And little did I know at the time that really what I was doing was messaging. And so last year it took me a year really to kind of establish what it was that I was really going to specialize in and niche down on. And as soon as I did that, I started 2023 with 2 clients, just 2 clients. I went all in on messaging last March. And by the end, and 2024 last year was the biggest year of growth for me. And I went from like 2 clients to doing 10 to 20K consistent months, and ended the year on like a 46K December. So I'm coming into 2025 like blazing, and it's just been the most incredible transformation. So many things I've got to say about how that happened, but it's been about me essentially choosing my niche and my speciality, my zone of genius, and knowing what that is and going all in. But yeah, it's been a journey, but now it makes sense because I've always loved sales. I've always been able to sell anything to anyone and position things. And I've always been like, always loved language. I did languages at school. I won all the prizes, the word nerd. And I was like, yeah, here we are doing what I was always meant to do. But yeah, it's been a long journey.
Yeah,
But
I love that though. That's an amazing story, but I love how you like tried so many different industries before actually finding what your like speciality is.
yeah, it was all selling though. So every single thing has been selling, apart from the 4 years in accountancy, which we won't like think about. We
Yeah,
won't
we won't talk
never
about
meant to be.
that.
But it was always about selling something, whether that's
Yeah.
cake, jobs, products, network marketing, business opportunity, and now coaching and offers. It's always been about positioning that as the perfect match for your ideal clients, and just making sure that we use the right words and strategies to create the sale.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's an amazing story.
Thank
I
you.
definitely wasn't expecting the wedding cake designs to come in there at all.
No one ever does. No.
No, no.
You know what though? I've my boys will not go near a cake now. I did the right. I put them off cakes for life.
Sick of them. Please, can you tell us what your big focus for 2025 is, please?
Oh, I love this question. It is visibility. So this is the big focus for me. Last year was very much about setting everything out. I have a very strategic behind the scenes sales strategies. My funnels are built. Everything is being automatic. People are, buying things on automation. I've got things really nailed there. My offers are great. They create incredible transformations. I'm obsessed with my offers. I'm so confident about what they deliver. So this year now is about bringing more people into them. And so the visibility strategies that I teach anyway, but I'm now have more time to implement myself. So this is what this year is all about, just getting in front of more people, doing things like this, Steph, being honest, just being out there and telling people that I even exist and what I do.
Yeah, and that's exactly why, it's half the reason why we wanted to do interviews on the podcast, because not only is it visibility and collaboration, which we're never going to say no to, but also, as I was saying to you before I hit record, that it's so good to hear people's journeys and show people who think that's never going to be me what's possible. And I've always thought, oh, I'm never going to make enough money to own my own business, or anything like that, and here we are. So it's it's nice to never ever give up, and always chase your dreams, because one day they will become that reality. So okay, so visibility is the big focus for this year, which is so important for everyone, isn't it? So what would you say then is the importance of having your business besties or finding your tribe when you're a female business owner?
Okay, so for me, it's repelling as a business, as a messaging mentor and as a business coach, it's being unafraid to repel the people that you were never made to work with, and that your work was never meant for, and it's bringing around you the people who, you feel so aligned to, like, with your values, with your level of ambition. Like I was saying before we hit record, everyone who is in my world has huge goals. We're here for we're not here for average, we're here to build big businesses, and my clients in my world are. And by cultivating that tribe of people and surrounding myself not just with the connections I make, like you or other people that I'm connected with from a business point of view, but bringing clients into my world. I'm at a point where I can pick and choose who my close proximity clients are, and I won't work with anybody who is not has the same values. And it just snowballs and creates that momentum, having that those people around you. It's so essential. But even from a strategic point of view, I always say to my clients, you want to be creating messaging and offers that are only for the right people who are meant to work with you, because the knock-on effect that I don't think anyone realizes is when you have clients, no matter what business you're in, that are meant for you and you're meant for them, they are going to get results. And those results are going to make you feel incredible as a business owner. And if you have people in your world who are not, because and we've all done this, right? We've all taken on clients who were not really quite right, but we're like, I need the money,
Yeah.
And then it knocks your confidence, because you're like, oh, am I actually any good at this? Because they're not getting the results. They're not getting the results because you didn't call in the right people. And that's where the right messaging has a huge impact on who you are actually attracting. And so, yeah, it's all so tied together. I love that question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could go back to when you first started, let's say in your coaching business, okay, or if you were talking to someone who is just about to start their own brand new business, what advice would you give them, do you think?
Okay, so the one thing that has always served me in all aspects of life is not being afraid to make those 10x moves. If you haven't read that book, 10x is easier than 2x, whatever it is. And I can't remember the name of the author. I mean, he came out a couple of years ago and I read it straight away. But I've always acted like that. And it's my motto in life. And I've literally said it since I was a teenager. If you don't ask, you don't get. And I say that to my boys. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
It's about, like, you've got to be bold. You've got to be brave. You've got to trust that there will be mistakes. You're not going to get everything right. But those 10x moves are the things that those big scary things are the things that are going to 10x your business, your life, your confidence, your relationships, everything, whatever it is. And I've always been unafraid. Like, everything I've done, I've taken a leap towards, but I've known what I want, and I've been smart because I've always wanted to make more money. I've always looked for the business opportunities. When I left my recruitment company and started my own, when I decided to switch from making cakes to wedding cakes, when I left the network marketing company to coach on my own, I was like, I knew what I was chasing, and it was big and scary at the time. But the other thing is, the more you do it, the less scary it gets. And those 10x big moves become, oh, okay, I can do that. If I've done that, I can do that.
Because your confidence grows.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would
Yeah.
say that be bold, don't baby step,
Yeah.
because you can always step backwards a couple of steps, which you inevitably will from time to time.
Of course.
You've got to leap forward first.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would honestly, if that's like the thing that served me the most from like a big picture point of view, like not getting into the strategies and things like that, I'm pretty fearless and I'm resilient as anything. I don't give up on anything. I'm like a dog with a bone. And I'm like, but it's that resilience, it's that knowing and trusting that you will get there. God, it's taken me 22 years to get to where I am now, when I think about it, with stops and starts, and being a mom and that, but you will get there. You absolutely will. But those big moves are what's going to help get you there faster.
Yeah, big bold moves, and life will life in between, won't it? But
yeah, we're in seasons, right?
yeah, exactly. But you just have to find a ways to work around that. It's not going to stop you in your tracks. You just have to sidestep a little bit and go a different way. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right.
Okay, so what is the big dream for you?
Oh, the big dream. Wow.
The massive dream.
Oh, the massive dream. So I honestly, no joking aside, I know deep down that I'm going to be making multi-million dollar years, like 100%. I'm going to become known for who I am. And it is a bit of a snowball. And I think this isn't talked about enough in the industry and coaching industry and business in general, like that you do have to do your time a bit. You do have to like wait for the tipping point when things just go from a lot of groundwork at the beginning to that kind of tipping point when the momentum starts. And yeah, I kind of feel like I've crossed that in the last few weeks, and I'm like, things are starting to move. And yeah, big dream, you know, I have a big vision for my family, what we want. It's not about the tangible things necessarily.
No.
It's about, you know, I am a bit of a weird combination of, I always say I'm like real and rich because I do like a nice, I've got expensive taste, but I'm living in my tracksuit bottoms, or my leggings and my trainers, and I'm really quite happy with a simple life. I don't want to, I love first class travel, but I don't want a wardrobe full of fancy bags. You know, I'm just like,
Right, yeah.
it's what I value so much is time with my family and traveling and things like that. And I think those things really drive me as well.
Yeah. Okay. Love that. Multi-millionaire in the
Oh,
future.
absolutely. Yeah.
Not too distant future, I hope.
Not at all. No.
Okay, so with your big goal in mind then, this multi-millionaire, tell us how you streamline things in your business. So whether it's systems, processes, managing your time, having boundaries, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I have learned the hard way with boundaries, and like especially with working with clients, making sure that Mondays and Fridays are for my business. And Mondays particularly, I like to start the week and I like to organize my week into like chunks of time. So Mondays are for me, for my business, for creating content, and I'm very sort of systemized over that. And that is the day when I kind of get my ducks in a row for the week and I organize myself, get my content created, get the emails written, and make some strategic plans, plan out offers and things like that. And then, you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays are big one-on-one client days, or I'm in having group coaching calls, and I organize my week like that. Wednesdays I tend to do for kind of reaching out for podcasts and connecting and things like that. And then Fridays I do some work with Telegram clients, with my clients in Telegram, but really again, it's a bit more of a free-flowing day for me. So it just takes me nicely into the weekend. And I think systemizing my week like that has been amazing. Delegating tasks as I've grown too. I've got a small team, just got a couple of VAs working for me doing different things. I'm the least technical person on the planet, so I outsourced all of that side of things to my incredible tech VA. But yeah, it is about being organized, but also because I'm a very creative person by the nature of what I do like to have some creative flow, and there has to be a bit of room for that as well in my day. And the other thing is prioritizing myself, you know, prioritizing my own well-being. I work out every day. I go for a morning walk, and rain or shine, in the dark with my head torch on or not. Oh my goodness, I'm waiting for those days to be over. You know, it's like it's all those things, you know, just making sure that I'm very disciplined, and those things, like especially like my morning walk routine, my lunchtime workout, are the things that fill me up with energy, set me up for the day, just get my head straight. Is where my creativity, my ideas come, where I allow things to just land and action then. And yeah, even those kind of disciplined pieces, the habits and the routine is definitely part of like that strategy and that organization of my week. I am very routine, very like you.
I get that impression, definitely. Yeah. And you mentioning that you're like not technically minded. I must say, when I done your money making messaging masterclass, I remember, I think it was right at the beginning when you couldn't find something. You were like, hold on a minute.
I was like, just hang on a second for about 10 minutes.
One moment.
I know. You know what? It keeps it real, Steph. That's all.
Exactly. That's it. It happens to everybody. Like, but I love it when people leave stuff like that in a recording, because it just shows that it does happen to everyone, and it's not like
it doesn't faze me.
Not everything has to be polished. So I love that. I absolutely love it. It did make me chuckle at the time as well. So.
Oh, that was the point. I'm so glad you said that.
Okay, so that is all of my questions for today. But please, can you tell everyone where they can find you and what your current offer is for them, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So please come and say hi to me on Instagram. Like, come and DM me. Although I have two VAs, they don't go in my DMs, and I'd love for you to just come and say hi. Tell me you were listening to the podcast, and I love this podcast. So, tell me and ask me anything on messaging. I'm an open book. I have time for all of your listeners, Steph. And I do have a PDF as well, if you want to share that out. If this would be helpful, it's 2 step-by-step templates that drive ideal clients to do your DMs literally within minutes, and it's that step-by-step guide. I'd love to share that with your listeners as well, because I know they'll find that incredible.
Yeah, I will put that in the show notes if that's okay with you. And I'll put a link to your Instagram. Is that the best place to find you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, just come and say hello, introduce yourself, don't be shy.
Yeah, no, we don't do shyness. We don't like shyness. You just need to bite the bullet and go for it.
Yeah, you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly, there we go.
Oh.
Okay, so that is the end of this interview, and thank you again so much, Helen, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Steph. I've loved it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Streamline and Shine. If you have questions on what we covered inside, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Bolton_virtual_solutions, or you can email us at teambolton@boltonvirtualsolutions.co.uk. We absolutely love hearing from our amazing community and are always here to support you. If you'd like to be interviewed on a future episode, please drop us an email letting us know which topic you'd like to speak about, and we'll get back to you. See you on the next episode, lovelies.